Hello YouTube, it's Vdeogamer, and today I'm going to be drawing MegaMan X from the game MegaMan X. I'm not sure which version it was, because I know there's several versions, but this character has always been a favorite of mine just because of the MegaMan X game I played. I just really like that game, and I like the character himself. So I'm going to start off my drawing with just a simple sort of outline of his head a bit. This isn't going to be anything definite, really. And then I'm just sort of going to sketch out a pose just so I know what I'm going to do. This just always helps me a bit. Just to know what I'm going to do. Alright, so now we're going to work on the head to really start off this drawing. First we're going to draw in the part of his helmet that curves down at an angle right across his face. We're going to use that as the basis of the entire thing. Then we're going to draw in his eyes. Maybe it would have been better for his eyes first. Gotta make sure they're not too far apart. Down and draw his nose right there. And his mouth's just gonna be sort of open like this. Let's very quickly just define the rest of his head a bit. Of course, as I'm starting out, this is not gonna look quite right. It never does, but this is just the beginning sketches, so I can change anything I want. Sort of just angle his helmet off like that. Now let's draw in his eye, just to start it off. Once again, this is nothing too definite. We're just getting on the general form. Now we're going to draw his helmet coming around his head. Gotta sort of narrow his helmet down a bit. Erase some of these lines in here. Now we're going to add on his signature gem, sort of going across the top of this. What you want to do first is draw this curved line, just coming around his helmet just like this. And we're going to draw in his gem right on top of it. This is more triangular than anything. That looks awesome so far. And now we're just sort of going to pop it up off of his helmet a bit by adding in another line to make it seem 3D. That looks kind of good. His helmet's got this sort of detail here. Makes it go around like that. Then draw in a basic circle on either side of his head for his headphones, I guess is what I'm gonna call them. Ears. Where his ears are, I guess, is he's got these things. Sort of just extra helmet detail almost. We're gonna line that off. Put another circle inside of that. Then draw another line coming around this edge to make it seem like his helmet sort of has a little bit of dimension to it, because it does. And then the same goes for the other side of it, it's just not as easy to see. For the eyes, we want to sort of be a little bit more careful with how they do these. We've got two basic lines coming around on the sides, one shorter one in the inner part of it, and then a longer one on the other side. And the rest seems to be sort of left open, sort of like their anime style type things. And it will be when we're done, but right now we got to sort of line off with a light sketch line. As you can see, his eyes are sort of angled like this. At the edge here, it sort of cheeks off, I guess, if I can say that. Drawing his eyes once more. Add in a little bit of black, like that. Leave a little bit of white, and that small space below it for the green. So other arm going here. This arm's going to be his blaster arm, so we sort of got to make this one way bigger than the other one. Maybe change it up a bit. See, the best thing about doing sketch lines like this is that if you don't like how something looks at first, you can easily change it after you draw it, because you didn't draw too dark. We're going to continue on down and just sort of figure out where we want the legs to go a bit more. I'm just going to try out a couple different things with the legs. I might not like any of them, but once again, another benefit of sketching is it allows you to try different things before actually finalizing your drawing. Now we're going to start working on the details a bit more. Starting with the upper body at first. I always liked seeing all the different armor attachments you could get for MegaMan X, like the hidden armor attachments. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he has a lot of different armor styles. This one's just the basic one. And even then, this is still pretty awesome. So we got these shoulder guards, I guess, on these sides. Those are sort of angled a bit. Then across the front of it, we've got his main chest part. Just goes down a bit, just like that. Then on either side, we finish it up with another piece of armor that goes sort of around his body, I guess. Covers back. So we can sort of make that part look a bit 3D by adding in another line right there. Sort of finish it off. Clean up some of these sketch lines around here. And we're going to move on to his arm right here. So bring that down like this. We're going to start drawing in his Buster Blaster. If I remember correctly, that's what it's called. So it just looks like this huge bulb type thing going over his arm. If you've never played Mega Man before, you're probably thinking this guy's really a freak, but this is one awesome game, I'm telling you. You gotta play this game. It's Mega Man X. And we're going to add another 3D type thing, just to make it look 3D on the end of it. That looks pretty good for the blaster. Not much detail on the original blaster, but as you move along through the game, you can get a better blaster, I guess. Does a lot more things. So we're going to work on the other arm just like we did for the first one. His arm is not as big as his Buster Blaster. Thankfully, that would look, quite honestly, a little strange if it was. We're just gonna draw in his arm. And now we're gonna work on his fist a bit more. And now we're going to work on his last piece of armor. His boots, I guess, if you can call them boots. I'm not sure what these are, but they're awesome at the same time. And like Sonic characters, Mega Man's feet are also very big, very large. Can't see that one because it's covered by this leg, which we are about to draw right now. You know, in a way, I almost feel bad for Mega Man. I mean, it kind of sucks. I mean, I think it would suck having a big, huge blaster on your arm all the time. I don't know what you guys think of that. But I think that would be rather annoying, because the way I imagine that would be, it'd be like having a broken arm and a cast. And that is not fun. Having a cast is not fun whatsoever. I don't know. What do you guys think? Just that a little bit. Now what you want to make sure you got all your lines just the way you want it to. If you can, try and erase the smudges and the guidelines that you put in place, the sketch lines. Whatever unneeded lines you have here, try and erase them if at all possible. This will help you prepare for your final outline with Sharpie. Now what we're going to do is we're going to outline the entirety of Mega Man with a Sharpie. What this is going to do is it's going to really clean up our drawing for us. It's just going to make it look a lot cleaner. It's going to allow us to erase all these smudges and stuff within the lines we have. And it makes it look a lot more professional. Now we're going to erase all these lines. Typically the biggest erasers work the best. So now we're going to begin coloring Mega Man. The way I like to start off coloring characters I mean, is I like to start off with a light shade of the color first. I'm going to call this the base coat color. And what this is going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to do a lot of different shading techniques I've picked up over the past couple of years. Well, blue for the first one. The more colored pencils you have, the more different shading colors and stuff, and the better your colors will be. If you don't have all that many colors to pick from, it's okay. You can still get a lot of these different types of things, just depending on how hard you color with the colors. For me, Mega Man was one of the earliest video game characters I ever started drawing, and he was always a favorite to me, and the game itself was just pretty awesome. I just couldn't really get through it very easily because it was like a Sonic game in the sense that you had to, like, you couldn't die or lose all your lives, otherwise you went right back to the beginning of the game. And that just bugged me so much, but I still continued to play it whenever I could. And this is probably actually the best drawing I've ever made of Mega Man X to date. So, I'm pretty pleased with this drawing so far. For the red, we're just going to lay down a very light pink at first. And strangely enough, so many things are similar between this guy and Sonic. Even the eye color. It's green. Just add that in way real quickly. You can't really see it all that well, but it's pretty awesome. Technique. And the way I like to start this off is I want to decide where my lighting source is going to be. Do I want it in front of Mega Man to sort of light up his face and stuff, or do I want it behind him to sort of make it seem darker? I sort of want it to be in front of him, like he's heading towards the light. So that means all my shadows are going to be this direction. Sort of like this. Since this is sort of like an anime type style drawing, shadows are going to be really cut, clean, and defined along a certain point on the surfaces. If that doesn't make any sense to you whatsoever, then just watch me draw it, or color it. See, the neck even creates a sort of shadow going along back here. That helps out a lot. As you can see, this color is a bit lighter than I wanted it to be, so we're just going to even that out a bit by taking the same color we're using to shade and just coloring it over it. Sort of going to have the blaster carry a little bit of light too, or shadows onto the body of Mega Man itself. As you can see, I'm still doing a little bit of smoothing between my colors, sort of brisk circular lines. And all the while, you gotta keep in mind the actual shape of his arms and legs. They're not just flat, square objects. They have curves to them. And you'll learn this as you practice drawing and just even looking at objects around your house and stuff. You can see the different types of shadows. It's a very great skill to apply to any drawing. There it is. And since this part's basically away from the light completely, that's just going to be a solid black, like that. We're going to darken this a bit more around the edges, sort of working our way up into it. Side sort of has the same shape. Darken that a bit more some places. Add a little bit more red around. Sort of even it out more. That just sort of makes it look a lot more shiny in a way. And if you want even a little bit more shine, you can take your eraser sort of dig into the color you just applied. And that's called subtractive shading. It's whenever you take the eraser to get your highlights and whatnot. Continue on shading. Of course, you don't have to do the exact same shading as me either. You can get creative with your drawings. And just try all sorts of different things to make it look cool. And now, this part on the face is going to get a little bit more complicated because of how the helmet is shaped, whatnot. But for the most part, we're just going to keep it pretty simple by keeping the shadows off to the edges of the helmet. Like this. The majority of his neck is going to be in shadow here. Sort of requires you to know a little bit about how shadows interact with the face, but it's still pretty awesome once you get it right. Now for my background, I'm not going to do too much. I'm just going to sort of throw in a few colors to accentuate the colors on MegaMan himself. But if you guys want to do something to make your drawing look even better, maybe you could throw in some of those annoying minor hat enemies. I don't know if that made any sense to you whatsoever, but they look like they have a hard hat on all the time. It's basically a hard hat with feet, so those things always annoyed me so much. So if you want, you can add in some of those. I'm just going to do this real quick, but I really encourage you guys to be creative with your drawings and just maybe send in a few as a video response to this video, just to show what you can do. That's basically my finished drawing of MegaMan X. I hope you guys liked this drawing. I had a lot of fun drawing it. It's been several years since I last drew Mega Man, but I think this drawing was excellent. I hope you guys liked it as much as I did, and you should subscribe if you like this drawing, because I plan on doing a lot more drawings of video game characters just like these, several other different kinds, and if you probably didn't know this part, but I also take requests for characters. If you want to send me a request, go to my channel, go to the moderators module, and just type in your request right there. That's just a whole lot easier for me to keep track of requests that way, and that's also what I'm going to be using for the continuation of the whole entire How to Draw Video Game Characters series. So once again, thank you for watching this video. You should check out some of my other videos and drawings at my YouTube channel or my DeviantArt account if you just want to see the pictures themselves. And until next time, keep on drawing.